Hello, hello, my sexy biz babes. Okay, so it's been quite a while since I caught up with you, and I'm gonna do a little catch up before I have my special guest on today. So, I don't even know if you know. If you follow me on Instagram at Sexy Biz Babe, you may know some of the things. But I moved in with my boyfriend, which was a big shift. I don't know if you have this same type of scenario, but you move in, because I was seeing him 4 to 5 days a week, and I was like happy, and I would go home for like 1 or 2 days, and I'd be like, oh, I'm so happy to come back, like I'd miss him. And then we moved in together, and first of all, he's never lived with anybody before, no relationship. So this was his first time. I've lived with someone before. And I also have roommates, so I'm used to sharing my space and compromising. And I moved in with my boyfriend, and it was the most rocky thing. It was like everything. I almost feel like it was so much all at once for him that he was just like, oh my God, I don't know why I did this. Like, this is too much. So I'd love to hear what's your experience with moving in with people. You think you would go on dates and hang out more, but that's one of the things that I realized is, yeah, you kind of like get into this partnership, friendship mode. And yeah, it's important to schedule intimacy time. It's important to schedule dates. So that's just some of the things that I went through. I'd love to hear your guys' perspectives. DM me. Love to hear it. But one thing I realized is being in a longer term relationship that's serious. You guys know I'm E&M. I've found now that I have safety in my partnership and love him and get fulfilled in many ways of support and love and connection and intimacy, I've noticed I've gotten freakier. I've gotten a little sluttier. Okay, so a lot of the parties recently, I used to be more show up, make friends, chill out, and yes, they're sex parties. But now it's like one of the parties I went to, I got there a little bit later, and I was just like so horny. And I was just like, okay, I have this person, this person, this person. And we just went through and had a great time. They're my regulars, I guess. But it's kind of interesting to be in an E&M relationship. And the dynamics change. And I don't know. I feel like when I used to go to parties, I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel so hungry for attention. Okay, that sounds bad. But that's why it's so important to balance your masculine and feminine energy and schedule dates and schedule intimacy time. And make sure you have fun with your partner, because as you're living together, you get in patterns and habits, and it gets redundant, or maybe you take each other for granted a little bit. And so making sure you have like a weekly date or do something new and do something fun so you don't get in those same patterns is so important. And one other thing that I'd like to share is one of my friends had a deeper talk with me recently, and it was a guy, and he kind of wanted to share something personal with me, and it wasn't easy to hear. Basically, he said that I showed up with connections with men in a way that he could tell was my hurt self. So I would show up in scarcity after being used by men for so long in the vanilla community, where men would just, get off whenever and then leave the room. And you're just laying there like, wait, what about me? That happened so many times to me that I needed to change the way I had intimacy with people and partners, which was I take care of myself. I make sure my needs are met. I take care of all of it. It's nothing on my partner. And then after some time, that's what I was used to doing. I was used to like making sure I was warmed up and I felt good, or I would even finish myself. And I just got so used to that in this lifestyle community, we do care more. We are more educated in sex, and most men in this community, that my communities, they do care about a woman's pleasure. So I was coming at it in my old way of taking care of myself and maybe in the scarcity mentality of pleasure. And then I had to switch it because my friend called me out and I was like, wow, I think that's true. I always felt like I had to take care of myself. And that kind of goes in all ways. Like how you do one thing, you do all things. That's kind of me. I'm always used to taking care of myself. And so after he told me this, he was like, I really think that if you came into this connection with like abundance and you know your needs always get met and you came with like a filled cup, that your needs would get met. And I was like, okay, I agree with you. I am surrounded by better people and partners, and we're connected and open, and we take care of each other. So I recently changed this. I gave it a try. I went to 2 parties, and some of the partners that I connect with, we've now been friends for quite a while, and they're like my regular partners that I like to hook up with. I was like, what if I did it different? What if I come in and I'm like a filled cup and I want to give? And I also feel like connecting with partners that aren't my boyfriend, I had a wall up, like an energetic wall. Like I can't get too close. I can't be too intimate. And I just was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a try and let down that wall, show up, be abundant, give freely. I did that, I think the last 2 or 3 parties that I went to. Oh my God. It was so much better. It was more fun. It was more connected. It was more intimate. I also got off. I also had like mind-blowing O's, and I was just like, whoa, okay. So if you can relate to any of this, if you can be like, wow, I feel like I have a guard up when I'm having sex, or it's hard for you to let go, or you have a wall up, or you don't have that giving, pleasure, abundant mindset, or maybe it's the opposite and you're not able to receive pleasure. Like, I would love to work with you. This is what I do every day. This is what I'm so passionate about, and pushing your edges and healing. There's so many layers, and I continue to heal every day. But, okay, so I'll just say a quick story. So one of the partners and friends that I hook up with, he was like, hey, do you want to play? And I was like, okay. So we went up to this big room. There's like 2 Alaskan king beds, and it was like slowing down of the party. And I just really got into this like abundant, I'm sexy as fuck, I'm giving mode, let down my walls. And I totally got into like giving and like kind of like sensual magnetic mode where I'm just like moving my body and feeling tapped in and turned on. Gave him like an amazing blowjob, and I like really enjoyed it. And I don't know, I just had fun with it. And then we had the best sex ever. I have the best sex ever often, but this was like really great. It was really connected. I felt a different level of connection, and it just was better for both of us. And I got my needs met too. So that's just a story that has like a little lesson in between it. And I'd love to hear if you guys have ever experienced that. If you need help taking down that wall, if you need help receiving, I'd love to be there for you. And let me know what you think of this. And here we go. I am going to introduce you to Sophia Domina. She is a dominatrix, and we're going to get into all the things. I've had one other dominatrix on, so we're going to go a little bit deeper. She's going to be talking about her new book, Dom and Dahmer, and we're going to be talking about what is a professional dom, what are some of the power dynamics, how it's empowering to become a sub. So we're going to dive into all of it. But first of all, I'd love to break the ice with you. If you're open to sharing, do you have any special fantasies that you would like to share?
So many. I find when people ask me for these lists, I prefer to instead tell stories.
Yes.
Because anyone can have a list of kinks. But one of my most beautiful moments was not too long ago, was a 4-person cuddle puddle.
Ooh.
Yeah, after one of my events. So I throw play parties. And I'm busy hosting and taking care of others. So it was just a really sweet moment with a lot of different dynamics within that foursome. So it was great.
Ooh, what did you like about it?
So there was another woman who had kind of the same strong mommy energy. So it was nice to kind of like share that. And then 2 obedient boys.
Ooh, nice. Yeah. Okay, and you throw parties. What kind of parties? What are they like?
So I throw intimate, sensual play parties for all. And then I have some that are just for women.
Awesome.
Yeah. And each party is preceded by a workshop for women. So it's a female domination / sexual empowerment workshop.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What kind of things do you do in the workshop?
It's really like group therapy is what it's turned out to be. But I try to really specifically talk about how to be a dominant woman in the bedroom.
Okay.
Or in a dynamic, like real takeaway things that women can practice even that night at the party.
So are a lot of the women maybe more passive and people pleasery and that kind of thing is like your target audience?
I get a variety. I open up the discussion right away to find out who I'm talking to. And I'll even ask, do you want to hear more about empowerment or domination?
Yeah, okay. I am definitely more in my masculine energy naturally, just like go, do, be, get things done. And so for me, I've actually been diving more into my feminine energy and be receiving and nurturing and slow down and other people taking control. But that's kind of my natural. And then like I've been wanting to explore more of like switch dynamics. Like I'm very switchy in the bedroom, very dynamic and a little bossy outside the bedroom, but then inside the bedroom, I'm very submissive. But I have pushed myself to like explore, not with like my partners, but like other people to like spank them and like kind of like get that energy out. And I find I really like it and it's fun, but probably not like my boyfriend. So
makes sense.
How are you a switch at all? Or are you just dominant?
I am a switch sexually. I'm not psychologically submissive.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It may be twice in my life where I'm like, ooh, I'm in subspace. Oh, it's gone. But I am physically, I enjoy being a bottom.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
Of course.
Yeah.
I love a great service top. Like, please. Yes.
Okay, awesome. And for anybody that's interested in exploring their like dom or submissive side, well, first of all, tell us a little bit about that. And then what would they do to explore it?
Well, it's first good to just reflect on what your real deep longings and fantasies are. And I tell everyone in my workshop, don't be lazy. Sit with yourself and fantasize. Don't expect your sexual partner to read your mind. That's dumb.
Yeah, we can't read your mind. I'm sorry, ladies. They can't read our mind. We have to tell them.
Yeah, and we think that, oh, maybe it's not sexy to talk about it, but first sit with yourself. And in the workshop, we actually write down our fantasies for that night. So be specific. Because like you mentioned, we have different desires for different dynamics with different people. So take yourself outside of this one identity with one partner and say, oh, who would I be in that scenario with that person. If you're poly or open or E&M, that is. Or single.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can also explore different energies doing role play. I don't know. That's something that I've been recently doing with like a longer term partner. Is like, okay, we are going to like spice up with role play and like get in different energies. And so that's been really fun. Do you do any type of role play in your services?
Oh, 100%. I call my plays Dompton Abbey. So we're already in these roles of this queendom, this matriarchy that you've entered. And instead of being like a dungeon dom, I enjoy this kind of like heightened aesthetic about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite role play or dom sub? Like what's your favorite thing to do to your clients?
Well, clients is different.
Okay. Two different things.
No, but it's still my brand of domination. But I like to be served. So even if someone is paying me, I will be served.
Okay. I like that.
I mean, why else would I be doing this?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I've service subs. I'm like, how do I get one of those? Okay. Applications are open. Like, I would love that. How do you, that just makes me think. I've actually had a guy be like, I would love to serve you, but they also wanted sexual things too.
Yeah.
So I haven't really dabbled in any of that.
Right.
For payment, but he made it sound like so good. He was like, I want you to sit on my face in one of those boxes. And I was like, okay, I mean, that could be done. He's like, I just want to do that while you work. I was like, okay, I mean, that sounds pretty nice. But then he also wanted to service me and like do things for me. Like, how do you explore that dynamic? Like, you're like, what do I do?
Yeah, no, great question. And my first few times doing it, I was nervous. So I always say, okay, sit with your fantasies. You've heard his.
Yeah.
Well, what are yours?
Yeah.
Because that's what matters most.
And then, I don't know. I just remember being like, well, what do we do?
Well,
you
then,
just kind of have to try, right?
Yeah. So then you kind of write the scene.
Okay.
You got to think of it as sex theater.
Okay.
But you're the star. You're the director.
That sounds
and
fun.
then if you get, a little flustered during the session, you can restrict their eyesight.
Yeah.
Head down, no speaking. And then you recompose yourself. You can leave them, in a submissive position and go pour yourself a martini. I mean, whatever you want. It's on your time.
Yeah. It sounds fun. What has been one of the craziest, or I don't know, just something that you would want to share that's interesting for a client, like a weird session or a request?
So many weird requests all the time. I can share something really that's been fun for me is working with couples sometimes. It's a little like sex therapy. Like I'm a little bit of the conduit, or not the surrogate, because we're not having full penetrative sex like they do. But just kind of moving the energy between them, teaching the woman how she can be more dominant with her partner, which we know is hard after many years of having whatever, vanilla relationship you have.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What kind of things do you teach her? Just like how to speak up for her needs, how to maybe make him a sub, or what's kind of the...
Yeah, if that's their dynamic, again, never forcing it, but that's what's been coming to me in these couples. So teaching her how to put him in submissive positions or slave positions, as they're called. Teaching her to advocate for whatever she wants, if it's a foot massage or if he needs to clean the kitchen better. Whatever it is in their lives, I'm kind of just like, yeah, girl, get it.
Facilitate that. That would almost be easier for me because I never really had the hardest time speaking up. I don't know. I think I just naturally am very like, this is how it is. I'm just kind of blunt. And I love that there's a job for that. I'm like, this is how you can speak up. Be like me. Use your power.
Exactly.
So that's really exciting. All right. And if you want to break out of shame, heal your sexuality, own your badass confidence where you feel sexy as fuck, tapped in, turned on, and have the best mind-blowing sex of your life multiple O's and just going deeper and more intimate with yourself and your partners, I would love to work with you. I have multiple ways to work together. I have my Sexy Goddess signature course. It's a 10-week program that takes you through all the steps that really helps you tap into your emotions and allow more pleasure and feeling into your life. If we are a good fit, I would love to work with you one-on-one. But DM me or book a 20-minute free call. Check the links in the bio. Okay. So I know how do you own your power in your role?
In just being a dom? Mm-hmm. I have grown into it. So I do not have a long history of being kinky or being in the BDSM world. Mm-hmm. It's only been the last 6 years that I've...
Wow.
Yeah. So it's been rapid growth.
Yeah. I love that.
But I do what I tell others to do, and I sit with myself. Mm-hmm. And I have a lot of, sexual energy coming at me as a dom, any sex worker or a woman on any kind of app. Mm-hmm. But I just stop and say, well, is that what I want? Mm-hmm. And so I've become a lot more outspoken and telling people, okay, I hear you, but this is not a drive-through. You don't order off your menu.
Yeah. You're not just a service.
Yeah. And so then it translates to the rest of my life is just speaking my mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How you do things in the bedroom, it tends to affect outside the bedroom. So true. Mm-hmm. Yes. As you get more comfortable speaking about sex, talking about your desires, talking about your needs, you're going to be able to do that outside the bedroom because it's hard to do it inside the bedroom. So that's something that everybody needs to work on. Mm-hmm. Communication is so important.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you help your submissive own their power? Like, how is being submissive actually empowering?
If that's someone's really natural inclination and then they get to step into that space and feel held and safe and excited, then yeah, they're in their power. Mm-hmm. Even if they're saying, please take my power. Mm-hmm. Because especially if they're a man, living in a patriarchal world with certain standards of masculinity, mm-hmm. that's a secret side of them that they can't usually express in the world or with men especially.
Yeah. And so kind of like being in that submissive role helps them feel powerful in just letting go. And yeah, I like that. And also the subs do have the power because we can tell when to stop, mm-hmm. when to go slower. Like we're actually in the power as well. So
yeah, so I question people pretty in depth before mm-hmm. I engage with them, mm-hmm. whether it's just in my personal life or clients. So I have a spreadsheet, like a questionnaire. I'll have them sometimes journal to me. I'll give them a prompt, a word count and a deadline.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Have you always been like that? Always been like, this is what you do. Here are the steps. Like very organized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is how I am in my business life. Mm-hmm. I'm a natural leader. I start businesses and run them, and I'm a film director. So it just translates.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so how did you get into being a professional dom?
It started as a lifestyle mm-hmm. exploration. I found myself on a date with a dominatrix when I knew nothing about kink, very little even about sex, because I had been in this Christian cult for most of my life where I was repressed.
Jehovah Witness, you said? Mm-hmm. I think I read. Okay. Nice.
Yeah, and so she told me about this other world where women rule, and I was like, oh. She's like, well, you're a baby dom. It's written all over your life story.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why did she think that so quickly?
I had a deeply submissive husband.
Oh, wow.
I think that was it.
Okay.
Yeah, that was probably the tell.
Yeah. And she could see that? Or just from the story?
Yeah, I had left the cult and I had to leave my marriage too. It was one thing.
Yeah.
Just, and yeah, we were just talking about our lives as you do when you meet someone, and also you can just tell if someone has an alpha personality.
100%. It's not faked. I mean, you can fake it, but some people just naturally, you can just tell. Wow. Okay. So how long were you in that cult, and what got you to leave? Because I'm from Utah, and it's very religious, and some people just follow the rules and they grow up, and that's what everybody does. And so they take on what their parents do, and they believe all of the rules and the regulations, and they follow them very specifically, and it rules their life. And I've had some people that 40 years down the line, they like had an epiphany and they're now healing from it, like as 40 plus, and they're just like kind of angry and like, how did I believe this? And it's sometimes hard for people outside of it to understand, like, well, why didn't you leave? Like, I mean, if I could ask, like, what kept you in it?
Fear. Yeah. It's a very fear-mongering doomsday cult. So you're always waiting for Armageddon.
Wow.
Like every day it's possible. That's the day.
Wow.
And then their excommunication policy is devastating. Once you leave, no one can speak to you.
Okay.
So you completely start over.
That gave me chills, because that's sad. Like if your mom and your dad and your husband and your friends, like that's no one. I mean, I could see that would be hard to leave.
Yeah, you have to be sure. So it takes a lot of us years to gather the courage to leave, because you will lose something.
Yeah, you lose your family.
They make sure of that.
That's sad.
Yeah.
I mean, I totally get that. And what finally got you to take that leap? Because that's scary.
Therapy.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. So they let you have therapy?
They discouraged it.
Okay.
Yeah, they discouraged it, not just to me, but as an organization. And ironically, my husband could see how miserable I was, and I was questioning. And we had been missionaries, and I was overwhelmed. And he was like, "You should try therapy."
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you guys have a good relationship? Did you have?
At times, there was real love and care, but you just, when you're brainwashed, there's no way your relationship can really be healthy and thriving.
Yeah, I've heard of some people getting out of cults or super oppressed religions, and they're like, "I'm gay.
Yeah.
I've been with one person my whole life, and I never had pleasure." And I'm like, damn,
right.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Like they don't even know, they haven't explored their bodies, they haven't been taught about sexuality and sex education and turn on and all the things. They're just, it's about procreation.
Yeah, there's so many sexual restrictions even between married couples. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, no oral.
What? Oh my God. Wait.
Yeah.
Wait, for both sides, not just one side.
No.
What?
Yeah, my husband never got a blowjob. Poor guy.
Oh my God.
I know.
Well, I never knew this.
It's terrible. It's
all
terrible.
These people are not having oral?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm so sad for you guys.
It's just so arbitrary. I mean, there's obviously nothing in the Bible about that.
What? They just made it up and then pushed it on their people. Mm-hmm. Do they even tell you why?
It's not even so explicit. They just frame that kind of sex as so illicit and dirty that married couples kind of just assume, oh, well, it's even bad for us. We shouldn't even, try anything that would enrage our God, who's very punitive.
Wow. That's so sad. Yeah, I love oral. It's such a loving, giving, pleasurable act.
Yeah, I love it too.
I remember when I used to not really like blowjobs, but when I've learned to really love them, it's such a giving, loving act that you can fully love.
Yeah, and it's extremely powerful.
Yeah.
Like the man is definitely in the submissive position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They may not think of it that way, but they are.
Yes. I've been thinking, somebody asked me, they're like, you should just do some like blowjob and eat pussy workshops. I'm like, Maybe. Let me know, people, if you're interested. Maybe I will. Because there's power in it. And going from mediocre, dick-averse to, wow, I fucking love this. It's night and day difference. It's empowering. It's amazing. The reaction, it's just, I love it.
It's a positive feedback loop.
Yeah.
It can be.
It's powerful. And then you just receive that love and energy back even more powerfully. I don't know. I've really transformed my blowjob loving skills.
Love that.
Yeah. I did not expect that to come up today. But, okay, you have a book. And it's Dom and Dahmer.
Dom and Dahmer. And I'm giving this to you because I think you'll enjoy it.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is a fictionalization of my life. So some parts are based on actual events and others are not. And some people are inspired by people in my life and others are fictional. But I wanted to make it a fun read.
Yeah, I like that. So you could add some different things and then also maybe protect people of like,
of course,
hey, this is like not true. So yeah, don't worry about it.
Exactly.
I love it. Well, I'm excited that I think that's a great way to do like a fiction to make it a fun read. Yeah.
It's kind of a dark comedy because it delves into some tragic things and also the realities of sex work. But yeah,
that's good.
It's also like it's a buddy comedy and there's a character that I hope Melissa McCarthy will play at some point.
Ooh, fun. Okay, I can like visualize that. You'll have to. Who's the character?
Deb.
Okay,
Debbie
I'll keep
Dahmer.
that in mind. I'll keep that in mind when I read it because I'm very visual when I read.
Yeah.
Ooh, and then a little bit of bisexual love.
Totally.
Ooh. Okay, so how did you go on a date with a woman right away? Like I'm like thinking of that, and I'm like, you went out of a super strict religion, and then your first date was a woman?
Not first,
okay.
but within
That makes sense.
6 to 7 months, I was on a date with a woman. I didn't know I was bisexual.
Yeah.
But I was very eager to find out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you ever have like attraction to women when you were in the religion?
One time.
Think about it. No.
Yeah, one time. I didn't feel like I was in the closet. I just wasn't contemplating my sexuality. I wasn't really allowed to.
Yeah, you weren't like really aware of it. I think that makes sense because a lot of younger people, they come on my show or they talk to me and they're like, oh, I knew I was like bisexual right away. But I lived in such a small town that I didn't know anyone that was bisexual. So I didn't identify with it. I loved my friends. In fact, I kissed all my friends. Like I just like thought it was kind of fun and cute. I didn't think of having sex with them, but I explored that more and more as I got older and as I left Utah and left this really small town. But yeah, it's like out of sight, out of mind. You don't really know what it is. That's really cool that you were like, ooh, let's explore this.
Were you Mormon?
I wasn't, but a lot of people around me were.
Yeah.
So I was very Christian, like born and raised, born again, loud, hallelujah, charismatic. So that's cool. I like that it was a little bit more open. But yeah, my one side of my family is very Mormon, like the epitome of Mormonism.
Yeah.
No coffee, don't have sex till you get married, pop out 5 to 7 kids once you get married. Oh yeah, go on a mission.
Yep.
All the things. Like, so being raised around that, it was like, I remember when I was younger in my teens and there was like a 21-year-old woman that they were talking about. Like, I just remember this. And they were like, kind of like, oh, when is she going to get married? Oh, poor her.
Yeah.
Like she was old.
It's so awful.
Like they should get married at like 19, 20. But if you hit 21, you're like.
Shamed.
Yeah. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I felt like I could tell that they were talking about her in like a not good way. And I was young. I don't know. It just stuck with me.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's so young. And they're like shaming her. It was weird. So very pressure. Yeah.
I grew up in Texas part of my life and same thing. My 17-year-old friends were getting married.
Oh, 17.
Yeah.
It's legal? Because their family says it's okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that just hurts my heart.
Oh, it was so painful. I even knew better as a teenager.
Yeah.
I was like, this is wrong.
Yeah, because you're not an adult. You're just, even if you're 18, you don't really know what you are, what life is, what consent is, what your body, like you just don't know yourself, really.
No.
You're just growing up.
Those relationships rarely last because you're going to change.
Yeah, that's wild. Well, I would love to hear, what is something that you love about your parties?
I love creating an experience that is entirely new for someone. I do what I call the goddess bath.
Ooh, what is the goddess bath?
So at least one woman will be chosen to receive pampering in a steaming bubble bath. And she gets to choose either her handmaidens or the manservants that will tend to her.
Ooh.
And I direct it.
Okay. This is like one of my new fantasies. What have you watched your clients or friends, the people who come to the party, feel after?
One woman was pregnant and said she had never experienced an orgasm.
Okay. And it happened in the bath?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The bath maidens and manservants, like, they're great. And then I'm there to make sure that we have some pacing to it and that I introduce sensory elements and make sure everybody's, consenting and feeling great. And yeah, it's just like most people have never experienced that kind of care by that many people.
Ooh, how many people usually?
So I usually have like 3 people around the bath and then myself. So there's 4 of us.
Oh, that's so amazing. I just did a intimacy retreat it was a 4-day retreat, and we learned about the erotic blueprints, and I'm a shapeshifter. And one of the workshops we got to do, they picked 3 shapeshifters, and they put 6 people on us. Each person that's a shapeshifter.
Wow.
And then because we're a shapeshifter, we want all the things. We want the soft, the flowy, the spanking, whatever you like. You like lots of stimulation usually, and I know I do.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all the things, and having 6 people do that at once to me was like...
That's a lot.
I was so happy. Like, for me, it's not too much. It's like, I'm happy. I love this.
Now, did you direct it in any way or you just receive?
Yeah. So we had, I think, like 3 minutes. And right before I could tell them what I like, what I dislike, and kind of give either tasks or share what I want.
Perfect.
And so I was like, okay, I like all things all at once. So I want to hear you guys talking to my ear. I want naughty things in my, being told to me. Also, I've always been told I'm too much, like too bossy, too much, too fiery, like my whole life. So I was like, also it'd be nice if you said that in a positive way. While I'm receiving all this stimulation. And there was like spanking. My boyfriend was also a part, so he was directing because he knows what I like. And so there was people whispering in my ear. There's people with feathers and touch and tickling and then spanking. And I had a blindfold on to help me be in my body. Oh my God. It just like made me feel like I'm not too much and that's possible, and that I love just being in this lifestyle where you can do this type of thing and have your fantasy fulfilled and then not feel shame about it.
Exactly. I love that. It sounds like so beautifully executed.
Yeah, it was with Kimmy Inch.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was just, especially when they said like, you're not too much. We love doing this for you. Like,
you're giving me some ideas now about the dirty talk actually being like positive affirmations.
Yeah.
I love that.
Because in my head, I definitely still went to like, oh, like they've given enough, like they're maybe they're tired or I got enough. That's kind of like where my brain went. And then Kimmy Inch would be like, okay, tell them more what to do. They're there for you, and keep telling them, keep directing them. And it was like, that helped so much because I was like, okay, I can still speak up. I can say what to do, and then received more. And I was just like, that was like getting rid of a lot of shame and judgment and being okay with my wild, like, I just want a lot.
This is so therapeutic. This is what I love about kink. Or whatever you want to call it. But just this idea that nothing is off the table if we do it, responsibly with consent and people we love and are attracted to. Like, why not?
Yeah.
Life is short. We're sensory beings. We're sexual beings. Why not?
Oh, okay. We're getting into that. So this week, about the election, I had a guy. I'm just kind of curious what your thoughts would be. He said on my comment, on my post, he said, I just think women shouldn't be having sex with somebody unless they want to have a kid with them.
Troll.
I was just like, oh my God, it just got under my skin that, and also he lived in my small town.
Oh, great.
Like, I didn't know he was still following me on Facebook.
Oh, it's someone you know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Not just a troll.
Yeah. And then he even was like, oh, because I reacted. I was like, no, excuse me. Mm-hmm. You're completely wrong, and sex is for pleasure. And some women don't want kids. Mm-hmm. We don't have to have sex for procreation.
Unfortunately, the people that are the most angry at those who are like really expressive in their sexuality are probably the most deeply frustrated.
Yeah. I was like, what? Like,
they're jealous. It's hard to see someone else doing things that go against society's rules, especially for women.
Yeah.
It's outrageous and they wish they could do it. Unfortunately, they're trapped in their own limitations.
And then he had the audacity to say, I was like, oh, so are you also doing that? Are you also only having sex with women that you want to have kids with? And he was like, yeah.
Sure.
I'm like, bullshit, and they don't want kids with you. Right. Like, if I were to think of all the people I've had sex with, I'm just being honest, like, I don't want a kid with them. Like,
of course not.
Yes, they could be great people, but it doesn't mean I want to have a kid with them. And I'm the one that's going to be having the kid and taking care of. And I'm just like,
also,
men.
Reducing sex to penetration is very patriarchal and frankly, just outdated idea.
Yeah.
And that's also what I love about kink is sex can be anything. Mm-hmm. Can be play, can be pleasure and stimulation and touch. It could just be dirty talk.
Yeah.
Whatever you want it to be. You can decenter, penis and vagina if you want to.
Yeah.
You can do other things.
Be intimacy and connection. Awesome. I love that. Okay. So I'm curious. Do you apply what you do in your professional life, in your dating life?
100% I do.
Okay, I love it. Okay. So you like to be serviced, and are they usually more submissive?
I love switches. Oddly, I don't typically date romantically someone who's purely submissive. Mm-hmm. It's, I like a really confident service top.
Okay.
But someone who is just intrinsically going to put my pleasure first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they could be switchy and then sometimes subby.
Yes.
They could be like just happy to please you, but they don't have to be like a sub.
Exactly.
Okay. But
they're
just
and
like,
also not any kind of man who would ever call himself a dom.
Okay.
That.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. And are you poly or open, E&M, you're all of the above?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
For now, that's really kind of just the best way for me to live authentically.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
If you're open to sharing, do you have any partners at the moment?
I am pretty single. Ooh. I play with my friends.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll meet someone and have a connection. But because I've been married and had other partnerships, I try not to put that pressure on the connections that I have. Mm-hmm. And just meet me where I'm at and I'll meet you where you're at. And if it works, great.
Yeah, I love that.
But someone to be my primary partner, like it's an extremely high bar because of where I'm at in my life. Not to be arrogant, it's just where I'm at.
Yeah, that makes sense. I always was like, I want somebody who grows and then I grow and this leveling up ladder.
Totally.
And I just didn't think it was possible. And I actually have a partner that we do that together. So that's pretty awesome. It's hard to find though.
That sounds great. But I'm sure like you met a lot of people where it just was never going to work.
I don't think anybody before that did I feel like we were both leveling up like pretty quickly.
Well,
So
when you're a strong, confident, like accomplished woman, like you can't settle because it won't last.
yeah, and then they'll drag you down.
Yeah.
And then they'll be mad at you
Yes.
while you're growing and being successful, and they'll like tear you down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I agree.
Yeah.
What do you see in the future with your book and your, like, let's say in a couple years, like what would you like to see?
Hopefully sooner, but I'm adapting the book to a TV series. I'm writing the pilot right now, and I'll be shopping it. I always intended for that to be the case. Mm-hmm. And then I'll write book 2, season 2.
Ooh, yeah. I like that.
I have so many more stories.
I love that so much. And then do you have anything that you would like to share with my audience?
I have 2 play parties coming up, November and December. So if you go to my site, sophiadomina.com, you can buy my book and also apply to attend the parties. I vet everyone.
Okay, awesome. I love that. Vetted parties are the way to go.
Yes.
I love vetted parties because just the level of connection and comfort and I don't know, very important. I love vetted parties. So that's delicious.
Thank you.
And I'm curious, I remember seeing you talking about like foot fetishes. I've actually never really understood foot fetishes before because like I don't really find my feet attractive. I think I have good feet, but I'm like, okay, why is that one of the number one fetishes?
For different reasons, but for men, it usually starts young.
Okay.
They see either, it could be an auntie's foot that they were, forced to massage. I mean, it can be weird sexual experiences like that. Yeah. Or it could just be the fact that women take care of their feet and they're beautiful. Mm-hmm. And then there are a lot of erogenous zones in the foot. So for a woman to receive foot worship, now that's a feedback loop because she's getting turned on by him touching her feet or licking them or sucking the toes. It's deeply erotic.
Okay, where's the erogenous zone?
For me, it's between the big toe and the next toe.
Okay.
Like a tongue penetrating me that way.
Okay.
I'm getting turned on, sorry. I'm getting turned on talking about it.
Yeah.
Try it.
Okay. Yeah. Wait, I've had somebody do that, and now that I think about it. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, it's not, if you have more of an intention next time you go into it and you just like, and then you direct them, more of this, more of that.
Okay, I guess I was taking like feet and sex and like trying to be like feet and sex. But it's like, like why? But now I'm like, okay, yes, I do remember like it was really sensitive.
Yeah.
Like being licked and like it did like tingle and feel good. And okay, I can get down with that where it's a different perspective.
And it's also a power dynamic because the feet are dirty, right?
Yeah.
And so if someone is that into your body, like they want your fragrance and your odors and your dirt.
Yeah.
So it's a very dominant position to have your feet worshipped. Mm-hmm. And if you're turned on by dominance.
Yeah. No, I like it. Okay, I'm liking it a little bit more. Maybe I'll dabble more. One of my friends, she was like, oh yeah, I kind of want to try it. And she just started doing it more intentionally. And she's like, I love it. Like men that just love my feet and kiss me and like lick. And I'm like, okay, cool. I get that. Okay.
But I also love women's feet.
Yeah.
And I will worship women's feet.
Okay.
So I'm, an equal opportunity.
Yeah. So it kind of like, I feel like loving your own feet and getting that done to you maybe made you want to give it because you love it so much.
Then I had a partner who's just a deep foot fetishist and we lived together and my feet would be out and he'd just come start kissing them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not to initiate sex, just the feet. So then I started paying attention to women's feet. Yeah. And I'm like, there's a certain type of toe that's more attractive to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely judge women's feet though.
Yeah. Unfortunately, once you start
I'm a
thinking that
judge.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, like one of my friends, like her toes went over her shoes, and
You're like, girl,
I do judge toes. So
clean
sorry,
that up.
people. I do judge your feet. I do notice when there's like prettier feet. So I get that.
Yeah. And look, I mean, it doesn't take a lot to just, keep them looking nice. You don't have to get fancy pedicures or whatever, but it shows care for the rest of your appearance and body, and it can bring you more confidence to have nice looking feet.
Yeah. It makes me feel more confident. I can't not have my painted toes.
Yeah, same.
Like, no. That I will hide those. No. No. It's just not cute. But okay, well, thank you so much for being on. Where can my audience find you? SophiaDomina.com. On IG, I'm _Sophia_Domina. Awesome.
Yeah.
Check out her parties. Maybe I'll come to one sometime. And
I would love that.
If you want to book her, she has her services on there as well. Mm-hmm. And very active on Instagram too, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, go check her out. And thank you for listening in. And if they want to book you, just book from the website, or do they like DM
just
you?
Click sessions on the website. Don't DM me.
Do not DM her, okay?
Please,
follow
God,
instructions.
Don't DM me.
Okay, do not DM her. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on.
My pleasure.